Hello boys and girls and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're gonna be deciding who the greatest WWE champion of all time is. So join us on the journey. Okay, so for our first matchup we have Cody Rhodes versus Sergeant Slaughter. And this one's actually pretty easy. I mean, Sergeant Slaughter, a legend of the game, but not a great WWE champion, whereas Cody, although his second reign is still going, he had a pretty good first reign in my opinion. So maybe let's talk about this reign a little bit later when he comes across greater opponents, but for now, for sure, Cody Rhodes has to go through. Next up, we have Diesel versus Edge. And again, a similar story. Edge, although he's mostly known for his World Heavyweight Championships, Diesel was a pretty bad champion at his time. As much as it pains me to say that, I actually love him. But during this time, the WWE roster was really thin and they just didn't know who to put the belt on. So Diesel got it. But right here, I just have to go with Edge, I think. Next up, we have Rey Mysterio versus Alberto Del Rio. This is a fun matchup. Two of the worst WWE Championship runs. And I mean, Rey's is no fault of his own. He only held the championship for what, like an hour or two maybe? Before Cena effed him over. And then we have Alberto Del Rio, who, I mean, didn't have the greatest of reigns, but at least it lasted for longer than a day or two. And he's a scumbag, but that's not what we're rating here. Like if we were rating scumbaggery, he would be like top 5. But yeah, it pains me to say this, but I have to go with Alberto Del Rio. Next up we have Sid versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, and this is probably the easiest matchup yet. I mean, Stone Cold wins, and Sid, I mean, he was another victim of the roster being thin, so he was the only guy they could put it on during the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels stuff around the Montreal Screwjob. He was probably the only guy alongside Undertaker. So yeah, his reign just sucked. Whereas Stone Cold is, I mean, he has to be like a top 3 seed in this tournament. So yeah, let's go with Austin. Next up, we have Hulk Hogan versus Bray Wyatt. Now, my bias is saying Bray Wyatt, but let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Bray had a really bad reign. Unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say this, he had a really bad reign. And as much as he can be my favorite, he cannot win this matchup. And yeah, Hulk Hogan has to win this one. Next up, we have Stan Stasiak versus John Cena. And yeah, it's John. John is probably the number 1 seed here. Stan was, I don't know, honestly. I think his reign wasn't that long. He was one of the first champions back in the 80s, maybe even the 70s. But yeah, this just has to go to John Cena. Next up, we have Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. And unfortunately, Yokozuna's reigns, he had 2, and neither of them were all that great. So yeah, I just have to go with Bret Hart. Next up, we have The Undertaker versus Sheamus, and honestly, this is a bit of a hot take, but I love Sheamus's, both of his runs. But The Undertaker is The Undertaker, and although he might be a little bit more known for his Heavyweight Championship runs, I think, his WWE Championship runs were pretty good as well, and Sheamus just weren't as good, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with The Undertaker. Next matchup puts Bruno Sammartino against Chris Jericho, and again, I loved Jericho's runs, but man, Bruno Sammartino is the longest reigning WWE champion of all time. He's a legend. I didn't watch him, obviously. Look at me, do I look like I have 1 foot in the grave? But you cannot deny the greatness, so yeah, I have to go with him. Next up, we have Triple H versus Kurt Angle. Now, Kurt, should I say Kirk Angel? We were talking about Jericho a little bit. But Kurt Angle, he had a great reign. But Triple H is Triple H. There's not much you can do about it. Although, I mean, this is my list. This is my bracket, so I could go for Kurt Angel. Angel, now it's stuck in my head. I just saw that clip of CVV's interview with Chris Jericho, where he was like, "How did you come up with Kirk Angel and Ron Mysterio Jr. and everything?" So now Kirk Angel is stuck right here. I think I have to go with Triple H. Although it's really close between these two, in my head at least. I know the consensus is this one was better, but man, I loved Kurt Angle's championship runs. So yeah, Triple H it is. Next up, we have Pedro Morales, the failed Bruno Sammartino successor, versus Jeff Hardy. I mean, Jeff Hardy was bigger than Obama in 2008, so I just have to go with Jeff Hardy. Yeah. Next up, we have Bob Backlund versus Mankind, aka Mick Foley, and neither of these were great, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I wasn't around for Bob Backlund, for his WWE Championship reigns, but Mankind's weren't that great either. Although, like, the moment he won it, with the whole WCW commentary team saying, if you go to the WWF television right now, Mankind's gonna win. And people actually were like, Mankind's gonna win? I have to see that. And it was just a great moment and everything. So I guess because of that moment, I have to go for Mankind. Next up, we have The Miz versus Seth freaking Rollins. I actually liked Miz's reigns. I think he was really good. But Seth Rollins had one of the greatest reigns of all time before he got injured. I think that one run from him was amazing, so I just have to go with Seth. Next up, we have Ivan Koloff versus Dean Ambrose, and I have to go for Dean Ambrose, I think. Ivan Koloff only held it for how long? Like, I think it was like 30 days or something. And I mean, Dean's wasn't great, but it was at least better, I think. So yeah. Next up, we have Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Now, usually Daniel Bryan would probably go a little bit further into this bracket. His Yes movement, his reign where he was all about the planet and how we have to save it, that WWE Championship reign where he turned the actual championship in like wooden looking, that was great. But man, he's up against probably the number 2 seed in Roman Reigns, who is like, his reign during the Bloodline era was probably the greatest reign of all time. And although he did have a couple bad reigns, man, did his Bloodline era reign that just finished 2 years ago good. Like, it was so good, so I just have to go with Roman. Next up, we have AJ Styles versus Don't Hinder My Jinder Mahal. And this is just easy. I mean, Jinder is infamously bad. He was only there to appease to the Indian audience, at least according to sources. But the man was Canadian. The man wasn't even Indian. So yeah. Meanwhile, AJ Styles' run was amazing. It lasted for almost a year, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just great. So yeah, I just have to go for the phenomenal one. Next up, we have Shawn Michaels versus Drew McIntyre. And I loved Drew's reign. It was during his 2 reigns. They were during the pandemic era. And I mean, he's the guy that made pandemic era WWE washable, in my opinion. Although his WrestleMania match versus Brock Lesnar, where he won his first one, it was really bad, really bad, just a 5-minute finisher fest. But him as a character and all the stuff he did, they were what made pandemic era watchable for me. But next to him we have Shawn Michaels, one of the greatest of all time. So I just have to go with Shawn. I think he won all of his WWE championships during the 90s. So it's not as great as you might think. But still, I have to go with Shawn Michaels. Next up, we have the Ultimate Warrior versus Ric Flair. And I mean, the Ultimate Warrior was notoriously bad in the ring. But he was a character and people loved him, and his reign wasn't that great, to be perfectly honest. Whereas on the other side, we have Ric Flair, who, although his reigns weren't the most memorable, they were pretty good. So yeah, I just have to go with Ric Flair. Woo! That was the saddest whoever. Next up, we have the Iron Sheik versus Bobby Lashley. Now, Sheiky Baby only held it for, I think, like 30 days or something before Hulk Hogan would take it. I think so. Yeah, he was the transitional champion for Hulk Hogan. And on the other side, we have Bobby Lashley, who, although he didn't have the greatest reigns of all time, they were, I guess, better than Sheiky Babies. So yeah, I just have to go with Bobby Lashley here. Now we have Randy Savage versus Rob Van Dam. And I mean, Rob's win was great, but his reign wasn't. So I just have to go with the Macho Man, I guess. Although I do love Rob's victory and everything, but Randy was just different and he was way better. So yeah. Next up, we have Batista versus Big E, and man, I feel sorry for Big E and all his injury and everything. But when it comes to WWE Championship reigns, I'm sorry, Big E. I'm sorry, but Batista just has to take this one. Although he's, just like Edge, more known for his World Heavyweight Championship runs, and his WWE Championship runs weren't the greatest. I think he only had 2, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 1. I think it's two. But they weren't the best either. So now that I think about it, actually, Big E might be better. Now that I think about it, okay, look, now that I think about it, I'm actually gonna go with Big E. I don't know if this is controversial or anything, but we're only talking WWE Championship runs. So yeah, Big E. Kane versus Randy Orton. I mean, Kane's reign was barely even a reign, I think. So I just have to go with Randy Orton here. I just have to do it. Next up, we have Edge versus Jeff Hardy. Okay, this is a pretty tough one. But again, as I said previously, Edge's WWE Championship reigns weren't the best. His cash-ins were amazing, but the reigns themselves maybe not so great. And then you have Jeff Hardy, who, I mean, again, he was bigger than Obama in 2008. So I just have to go with Jeff. CM Punk versus Big E. Big E, you've had a good run. You beat, who was it? Batista in the previous round. But you've come to CM Punk now, and this is just unbeatable, I think. His reign that lasted for 434 days, I think, was amazing, and he had a couple more runs that were great as well, so I just have to go with Punk. Next up, we have probably the worst reign of all time versus Randy Orton. Next up, Triple H versus Roman Reigns. I mean, this is pretty easy, but Triple H was a great WWE champion. Roman Reigns is just plainly better, as simple as that. Randy Savage versus Kofi Kingston. Ooh, Kofi Mania. I think Kofi Mania was just so good that I can't put Randy Savage over here. Kofi Mania, although it ended unceremoniously, that's how you say that word, with the Brock Lesnar match that lasted for, what, 7 seconds? Kofi Mania was just still so good, such a great time, so I have to go with Kofi Kingston here. Next up, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles did have a great run when he first came into the company. Almost a year, great fights. But Stone Cold Steve Austin is Stone Cold Steve Austin. His reigns were brilliant. He was the face of the company alongside The Rock for the greatest time the company's ever had, apart from maybe last year. I've heard some reports that apparently last year was bigger for the WWE than the Attitude Era. So yeah, I'm not sure about that, but yeah. So I just have to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, we're finally gonna get rid of Alberto Del Rio. He's up against The Rock. Simple as that. The Rock. I was just talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock is up there as well. He also put wrestling into the mainstream for the Attitude Era with his movies and everything. And he had like a lot of reigns, if I'm not mistaken, like 6 or 7, if that's right. And he was only in the company at that time, winning championships for what, like a couple years. So I just have to go with The Rock. He was one of the 2 pillars that held the company during its greatest time. Next round puts Shawn Michaels versus John Cena, and thank you, Shawn. You've had a great run so far for the one match you won. But John Cena is winning here. That's as simple as that. Superstar Billy Graham versus Ric Flair. Ric Flair just plainly wins this one. I'm not so sure how long Billy Graham's run even lasted. I think he was he before or after Pedro Morales? One of those 2, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think Ric Flair just has to win this one. Hey, it's the Big Show versus Cody Rhodes. Big Show probably had, for how many reigns he probably had the worst reigns of all time. Although I do love the Big Show, but whenever they would try something different with him, like whether it be turning him face or him winning a WWE Championship, it would never turn out great. So I just have to go for Cody. But hey, it's the Big Show. Cody Rhodes wins. Next up, we have the Shield matchup. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and Seth has to win this one in my eyes. He just has to. Again, his reign was amazing before the injury, and his matches were great. Whereas Dean Ambrose, I can kind of hardly remember it. Of course, I do remember it, the moment of him winning and everything. But the reign as in of itself, I don't think it was that great. Honestly, I don't think it was that great. I don't know if that's a hot take. Honestly, I don't know if that's a hot take. But if you ask me, the reign wasn't too awesome in my eyes. So I just have to go with Seth Rollins. Next up, we have Buddy Rogers versus Eddie Guerrero. Buddy Rogers, of course, the first ever WWE champion, or I guess at that point WWF champion, versus the Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. Honestly, Eddie's championship reign, I love Eddie. Who doesn't love Eddie? One of the greatest in-ring workers the world has ever seen. One of the funniest characters the world has ever seen. One of just the most charismatic characters the wrestling world has ever seen. But his WWE Championship reign, I'm not so sure about that, honestly. I'm not so sure. The moment was amazing, like the moment where he won it, but his reign in and of itself versus the first guy to ever do it. I mean, he is the first guy to ever do it. Buddy is the first guy, but he only held it for what, like 60 days or something? I think I'll go with Eddie here, but this is like a coin toss for me. Actually, let's toss a coin. Let's toss a coin right here. So head is gonna be Eddie winning, tail is gonna be Buddy Rogers winning. It's head. So yeah, we have Eddie Guerrero winning. Next up, we have Hulk Hogan versus Brock Lesnar. Now this might be a little bit of a hot take again. I think Brock as a WWE champion sucked. Honestly, I think he sucked. He ruined the 2010s for me. He absolutely ruined them, like the late 2010s where he would just win the championship and not be there. Like, he would just show up for 3 PLEs a year, like SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and something else like Royal Rumble or something. I don't know why I couldn't say Royal Rumble. I'm just gonna stop saying it. But yeah, he would just show up 3 times a year and that's it from him. Whereas Hulk Hogan, again, a douchebag and all that. But as a WWE champion, you cannot deny his greatness. So yeah, Hulk Hogan wins. Next up we have, I think I put the Andre with the apostrophe above it. That's not apostrophe, like, you know what it's called. I don't. So that's why it looks like this. But we have him up against Mankind, and Andre the Giant only won it, if I'm not mistaken, for like a split second before giving it to the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. So I'm gonna have to go with Mankind here on a technicality, I think, because the Big Show was barely, and I mean barely, not the Big Show, Andre the Giant was barely a champion at all. So yeah, Mankind path goes on. Next up we have Bruno Sammartino versus Bobby Lashley, and I don't think I have to say much about this one. Bruno Sammartino just wins. The Undertaker versus Bret Hart. Okay, this is actually a tough one. I loved Undertaker's reigns, but again, he wasn't as known for them. Versus Bret Hart's reigns. He was the face of the company during the company's toughest time, and he did pretty good at it. So I think I'll go with Bret here, although the Undertaker's is really good. This is another like 50-50 a coin toss, but I'm not gonna toss the coin again. I'm just gonna go with Bret, I think. This is really tough. Yeah. Bret Hart it is. Bret Hart it is. Okay, so in our next matchup, we have Seth Rollins versus John Cena. And Seth, my good man, you had a good run. I love your reign. I love your characters and everything. John Cena wins. Simple as that. John Cena wins as per usual. Same over here. Bret Hart, you've had a great run. You were a great champion. You've come to face Roman Reigns. There is no way you're going through, so yeah, Roman wins this one. Bruno Sammartino versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, this is a little bit of a tougher matchup. Bruno was the face of the company during the Golden Age, or before the Golden Age, I guess. He helped build the company. He has the longest reign of all time, but he's up against Stone Cold, who is, I mean, just the face of the company during its like best-selling time. He's the face of the Attitude Era. He is still to this day probably the biggest name amongst the wrestling fans as to who's the greatest. So I'm gonna have to go with Stone Cold. Next up we have Kofi Kingston versus Cody Rhodes. And Kofi, my man, you've had a great run, but once again your reign is gonna come to an end in about 7 seconds. Hulk Hogan versus Jeff Hardy. Yeah. I actually want to put Jeff over in this one because I cannot, like, you cannot underestimate how good this Jeff Hardy reign was. This Jeff Hardy run, should I say, during this time was during 2008, 2009. And it was so good. It was so good. But he's up against Hulk Hogan, and it would just feel like committing a grave sin to put Jeff Hardy over Hulk Hogan in this one. But I really wanna. Okay, after sitting on this for a couple minutes, I think I just have to go with Hulk Hogan, as much as I hate to do it. I can't look. Is it over? Yes, it is. Okay. Next up, we have The Rock versus Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie, my good man, this is where your run ends. Unfortunately, The Rock is just one of the greatest of all time when it comes to this, so I have to go with The Rock. Randy Orton versus Ric Flair. Woo! I think Randy has to win this one. The Evolution face-off. Rick's reigns were pretty great, but I can't name you like 5 matches he's had during his reigns. So I'm gonna go with Randy Orton. I just have to. Well, Mick Foley, you've had a good run. You're up against CM Punk, and I think CM Punk just has to win this one. No ifs, buts, or maybes. Mick Foley, great run so far, but yeah, Punk wins. Okay, this is actually pretty tough for me. The Rock, the final boss. It's gonna be Bloodline Rules versus Cody Rhodes. I want you so, Cody Rhodes. I love this Cody reign so far. The way he's won it, like a year-long story on the surface, actually a 40-50 year-long story, however long it is. And then his reign, he's had some amazing matches with the likes against AJ Styles, but he's also had some stinkers in my opinion, like his bout with Solo Sikoa. I have to go with The Rock, but it's not as easy as it seems to be. Okay, we've finally come to the end of Hulk Hogan. Again, he was the face of the company during the Golden Age and all that. Great for you, buddy. Great for you, brother, but you're gonna have to put Stone Cold Steve Austin over. Like, that's just not a question. Okay, a rivalry for the ages. John Cena versus CM Punk. Man, I hate to say it, but Cena wins. Cena wins, lol. It just has to happen. CM Punk did have a great run with the championship, but man, Cena is like the #1 seed in here, I think. He had, what, 15? I think it is. 15 WWE Championship reigns. And there's a lot of them that were great. Of course, some of them were pretty bad, and the championship at that time was kind of flippy-floppy, where it would just jump from one person to another all the time. But John was and is the GOAT, so yeah, I have to go with John. Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. Randy, also another legend of the game. Definitely a guy who's on the Mount Rushmore, but he's up against a guy who's also on the Mount Rushmore, at least in my eyes. So I have to go with Roman Reigns, just because of this latest championship reign, just because of his Bloodline run. That was just so good. It completely overshadows everything he did as the babyface Roman Reigns during the late 2010s, at least in my eyes. I'm like, I forgive that. Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't get the Tribal Chief, and the Tribal Chief is one of the best things that has happened to wrestling since the Attitude Era. So I have to go with Roman Reigns. I have to do it. And okay, this is probably a WrestleMania main event in a couple of years, I think, for The Rock's retirement. Who's the better WWE champion? Who's the Tribal Chief? There's only one Tribal Chief. There's only one. Roman Reigns. You go through. And Stone Cold Steve Austin versus John Cena. This is really tough. This is really, really tough, because, I mean, Stone Cold, he was just so good. He was just so good. But John Cena is the GOAT. He just is. And especially when it comes to WWE Championships, he held, again, I think 15 of them. If not 15, it's like 13. But still. Stone Cold, on the other hand, he had a great run. A great run. But I just have to go with John. I just have to go. And for our final matchup, we have John Cena versus Roman Reigns. The GOAT when it comes to all the championships versus the one run of Doom. The Tribal Chief run. Now my mind is saying go with John. My mind is saying go with John Cena. He's the GOAT. He held so many championships. He carried the WWE for like 20 years or something. But my heart is saying, man, Roman Reigns is so good. Roman Reigns is so good. And who am I gonna listen to? Who am I gonna listen to? Because again, my heart is saying like Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief run was the peak of your life. Which for me it was just like the happiest I've ever been. Whereas John Cena's runs, like, they made me happy, but there was also a lot of them that were pretty bad, but the same can be said for Roman Reigns. I'm gonna commit a grave sin here. I'm gonna commit a grave sin here. I need to go to confession after this, but yeah. Roman Reigns wins. If you want to check out the bracket for yourself, there's a link in the comments or in the description. I'm not sure where I'll put it. But yeah, thank you for watching and peace.